All right, so thanks for joining us today. And our presentation today is 5 reasons your business continuity plan is breaking the bank, or also known as DRAS and the Failover Revolution. My name is Carla Federico, and I'm the Director of Marketing with Infoscale. I just have a couple of quick announcements before we get started. I want to let you know that you are going to receive a copy of this presentation. Just grab that in the handouts section. So in the handout section, you'll actually see 2 different documents. One is a copy of these slides, and the second is a report that I'm going to reference in the presentation. So you can go ahead and grab that now as well. And here's all my contact information. So you have my email address, my LinkedIn, my Twitter, my Skype. Any means that you want to contact me is great. I'd love to chat with you. If you have any questions that come up later on that don't get answered today, just please do feel free to reach out to me. And then I do want to make mention of the questions tool in GoToWebinar. So the software today has that questions tool. Please do use that throughout the presentation. Type questions in as they come, and we'll definitely have a Q&A here at the end of the presentation. We're also going to do a giveaway in that Q&A. So in order to be eligible for that, all you need to do is ask relevant and on-topic questions. And then finally, we are going to be posting a recording of this presentation. So that will be up on our website at infoscale.com/webinars, and that will be up within about 24 hours. And then last note on this page here before we get to the agenda is simply join the conversation. You can use the hashtag DRAS on Twitter. You can also follow us at Infoscale, so hope to see you there. Okay, now here's the agenda for today. First, we're going to talk about some of the key trends in BCDR in 2016. We are going to talk about how to choose a solution, the sort of do's and don'ts of choosing a solution. We're going to also, of course, tell you just a bit about Infoscale and the Infoscale difference, but those are really the 3 main topics for today. If there's anything else that you would like to hear that's not covered in this agenda, please use the question tool and let me know, and we'll definitely talk about that as well. I did want to keep the agenda short, so I just used three bullet items here, but we do have a lot more that we are going to cover today. So first, I just want to start with what our mission is here at Infoscale. As a company, we use the cloud to eradicate downtime. Now, obviously, we can't eliminate the causes of downtime, but what we really aim to eliminate is the pain that a business experiences in the event of any outage. And I just want to be really clear when I refer to DR as a service, DRAS, I mean the ability to fail over an entire business environment, not just file and folder data, to a secondary location in the case of any disaster. So what we found is that on-demand failover is really outside the reach of most businesses, and it leaves them ill-equipped to respond to outages. So we're going to look at some of the trends to see why. But first, I want to be really clear of what the problem is in the BCR industry today. Now, just to be really clear on what this webinar is about, with business continuity and disaster recovery, they're very closely related practices, right? They both deal with an organization's level of preparation for unforeseen risks. And the trend of really combining business continuity and disaster recovery into a single term resulted from the recognition that both business executives and technology executives need to be collaborating closely rather than each developing plans in silos. So what we're including in this webinar today is really the not the business impact of replacement of staff, service availability issues, and change in management. We're looking at the IT side of BCDR. So we're looking at an organization's IT department is going to recover from any disaster, artificial or natural, either or. So this whole process can include server and network restoration, copying backup data, provisioning backup systems. Of course, we can't cover everything in a short presentation, but we're going to focus on the disaster recovery plan today. Okay, now the biggest BCDR problem experienced is cost. So price is really the primary inhibitor. Over 60% of recent survey respondents said that price is the #1 purchase criteria. So that's what you see in this number 2 set here. 60% of companies are using backup as a poor man's disaster recovery solution. Now, what we're going to address today is really the solution that we have today. Infoscale delivers on-demand cloud-backed DR, DR as a service, DRaaS, and we guarantee a 15-minute failover at 90% less than incumbents. So I will come back to that later. I just want to bring that point up first and foremost, and before we get into all of these trends that we're going to talk about next. So here are the top causes of downtime. Now we're looking at two different stories here. We're looking at the pervasiveness of downtime and also the top causes. But on the left, you see that in this survey, 91% of businesses had an outage in the past 24 months. And this research you can grab in the handout section. I mentioned in the beginning that you can report. So you can go ahead and do that in the handouts. Now also, 47% of companies experienced an outage this year. So this is how widespread downtime really is. And then the causes, these are not going to be a surprise to you. Hardware failure, human error, and software failure account for over 95% of all downtime. Natural disasters account for only 5 or less % of downtime, but we do want to include all of those micro and macro disasters. Of course, you can see hardware failure is the top cause of downtime. Now, with this in mind, let's take a look at some of the issues with traditional disaster recovery. Now, traditional disaster recovery invariably means that you're going to have some trade-offs. So, of course, if we look at the one end of the scale, and what we're looking at here is cost. Along the bottom, you can see cost from the least expensive to most expensive, and then RTO, or recovery time objective, along the other axis here. So off-site tape backup, while tape backup is extremely cheap, as you can see, it takes days to recover. It's simply not a solution that we can use any longer. Now, of course, from off-site tape backup, we moved into cloud backup, appliance backup, which is what a lot of people use today. You can see, though, anywhere along this continuum, you have those trade-offs between cost and recovery time. Now, even as we go along the scale, cold site, warm site, and hot site DR, now on that very far end, you do see the hot site DR, so you have the recovery time that you want, mere seconds, but look at the cost. It's the most expensive solution out there. So most companies just simply can't afford this. Now, enter DRaaS, or Disaster Recovery as a Service. This is what you really want. This is what Infoscale can deliver. Now, DRaaS, again, Disaster Recovery as a Service, is going to let you leverage a backup appliance to quickly reboot and virtualize VMs. That way, all of the end users in the business stay productive while the root cause of the outage is addressed. Now, this is what you really want. It's affordable, on-demand failover. And that way, you don't need to really give in to those traditional trade-offs that come along with disaster recovery. Now, disaster recovery can really only deliver on this specific promise if you find the right vendor. So we're going to talk about that in just a minute. I'll come back to those do's and don'ts. All right, now let's take a look at something that's really interesting about DRaaS. It's some of the adoptions, some of the barriers to adoption, like you see on the title of this slide here, and it's based on the perception that really DRaaS doesn't seem to be extremely well understood. Now, this is a survey of companies ranging from 100 to 5,000 employees. Most of those businesses said that they could not fail over to a second location. And in fact, only 10% of the companies surveyed said that they could fail over within 15 minutes. So why haven't they invested in failover? And so what I mentioned a moment ago, the number one reason is really the misperceived cost of disaster recovery solutions. And then after that, having insufficient IT resources, solution complexity, those are the next highest barriers to DRaaS adoption. And we're going to cover all these barriers and touch on these today. Again, if you want a copy of this report, simply grab it in the handout section. Okay, now let's dive into really the majority of this presentation is the 5 reasons your business continuity plan is breaking the bank. Okay, so the number one reason is using reserved infrastructure. And this should really be avoided, and here's why. So what we just saw on a few slides ago was those trade-offs that traditional disaster recovery solutions provide. So what we saw is that some solutions can achieve the recovery time that we want, but they just simply don't achieve the cost that we want. And so this is what you see here on the left is how most DR solutions are architected. So you have a production site that replicates over to the failover site, but then like you see in the middle there, because of the bandwidth, the people, and the software involved, it can cost up to 3 times as much to set up a proper DR solution. And then on top of the expense to implement, like you see along the bottom here, it's complex to test and to use. You have those RTO, RPO trade-offs that we just looked at. So not only the recovery time, but the recovery point along with the cost and the expense. And then it's vulnerable to hackers because it doesn't have security built right in. So avoid reserved infrastructure, but still get on-demand failover at the price point of most appliance backup solutions. This is what Infrascale can deliver. And then that brings us to the second reason, and that's to avoid hardware-heavy solutions. These should be avoided, which you can easily do by finding a vendor with cloud spillover. So this scenario that you see on your screen is going to sound familiar to many of you. You buy an appliance, which as your data grows, you end up filling up, so buy another one. And then again, your data continues to grow, you fill that up, buy another one, fill that up, and continue this cycle. Well, that cycle is really the old way of doing things, where when you need more space, that equals more appliance. But let's take a look at the new way on the right, where more space simply equals more cloud. So what if you could get the last hardware appliance that you'd ever need, and you could send it 1 terabyte or you could send it 100 terabytes? We can do that by utilizing cloud spillover technology and intelligently spilling data over from the device to the cloud, all based on policies that you set, so all based on the age and the value of your data. And this is something that Gartner wrote about Infrascale. We were named a 2015 Gartner Cool Vendor in Business Continuity and Disaster Recovery. And they pointed out, Infrascale says when you need more space, get a bigger cloud, not a bigger appliance. So that way you can use cloud spillover for all of your growing data. Okay, that brings us to number 3. The third reason is that you don't have complete coverage. So third reason that your BCDR solution is breaking the bank is that you don't have complete coverage. Now, it's increasingly vital to protect all of your data, all your applications, all your devices, et cetera, et cetera. What that means is that you need a solution that's designed end to end. So you want a solution that can back up any device, including both physical and virtual servers. You want to support any operating system. And that's not just Windows, but Linux, Unix, VMware, Hyper-V. Deploy in any form, so this means any type of form factor, including physical appliances, virtual appliances, or agent-level backups. You want to be able to store in any cloud. So you should have the flexibility of storing your data in any cloud. The vendor's cloud, your own private cloud, or popular third-party clouds like Amazon Web Services or Windows Azure. You need to be able to recover anything. So recover anything from an entire database server down to the mailbox level. Preview and search messages, also preview and search files for individual recovery, and then boot anywhere. So you do want the ability to boot on the appliance or in the cloud, and then of course fail back any systems. So your disaster recovery solution needs to be designed end to end. You need a complete solution, and if you don't have complete coverage now, this is something that Infrascale can deliver for you. Okay, and then here's the fourth reason. So are you prioritizing recovery and testing? Now, this is really important if you think about, again, sort of the old way of doing things in the new way. So think about what you would normally have to do at, say, 2 a.m. on a Saturday if there was an outage. You'd have to get out of bed, go to your car, drive to the data center, start recovering from backups. This is going to take hours, if not days, to complete depending on the size of the business. But now imagine this. Your new way of doing disaster recovery is simply grabbing your iPad, bring back 200 servers in the right order, all within 15 minutes, guaranteed. And now most of the time this takes about 90 seconds. And we're going to see a demo in just a minute here where you actually see it in action. And then with testing as well, so not just recovery, but testing. It used to be such a hassle. You'd only do it once a year because it was so cumbersome. But imagine being able to test every day and ensure that your systems are completely working. All right, that brings us to the last, number 5. The 5th reason is revolving all around data, privacy, and encryption. So security and encryption. Now, this is a look at the Infrascale double-blind encryption system. So it has 2 keys. So think of it as, similar to a safety deposit box. Now, first, your data is encrypted with the user's key. Now, second, the data is encrypted again. It's sent through a secure tunnel with 256-bit SSL. And then finally encrypted a 3rd time at rest in the data center. So there are 2 keys, one that you have and the vendor doesn't know, and one that the vendor has and you don't know. So by having both of those keys, just like I mentioned the safety deposit box, that's what you need to access that data. So rather than other solutions simply taking raw files and sending them to the cloud, we use this military-grade encryption system to protect data. It's really going to be the best practice as compared to any other methods that other solutions use. And then last note on security and encryption is that this grade of security allows us to enable compliance with HIPAA, PCI, Safe Harbor, SAS 70, SSA 16, many other government regulations. So any compliance issues that you may have, we're going to definitely address that. Security is our #1 concern. All right, so a quick recap of now the 5 rules of DRAS that we have taken away from the last few points that we just looked at. So first is avoid reserved infrastructure. 2, avoid hardware-heavy solutions. Use cloud spillover instead. 3, design it end-to-end. You really need a complete solution. 4, offer push-button failover that you can prioritize recovery and test. 5 is security and encryption. Okay, now with that, you've heard quite a bit from me, but I would love to hear from you. So I'm going to launch a quick poll here. Okay, so you'll see that pop up on your screen in a minute, and I'll give everyone a moment to answer that. And so what I'm asking here, just would love to hear feedback from you on when it comes to BCDR, which of these is you? So A is I can fail over to a second site in under 60 minutes already. B, I wish I had failover DR but can't afford it. C, I don't think I need failover DR. And we've got 40% of you who voted so far. I'll leave it up for another minute here so that everyone can vote. Great. And the high majority, it looks like, are saying, I wish I had failover DR but can't afford it. And I did mention that we are going to discuss pricing as well. That's coming up in just one or two slides here. We've got 65% of you who voted. I'll just leave this up another minute until we get to about 80% here to give everyone a chance to respond. Okay, and it looks like we've got almost 80% of you have responded here, so great. Let me go ahead and close this poll down. And we do have the high majority have said, I wish I'd failover DR but can't afford it. A couple of responses need failover DR, and I'm curious to hear from you as to why that is. So I'm very curious to hear about what your environment's like and why you don't need any type of failover disaster recovery. Okay, great. So we should be back on the presentation here. So let's continue on here. And so now we're getting into just a bit about InfraScale. So I did mention that we were going to talk a bit about InfraScale pricing and the InfraScale difference, what InfraScale can do for you. And I just want to reiterate, we are a DRaaS company. We're using the cloud to eradicate downtime. So we're equipping every company with the ability to quickly and affordably recover from any disaster, large or small. And again, we can't prevent those disasters from happening, but we do want to ease the pain that the businesses experience in an outage. And this is a look at, this is just a brief shot of all of the protected businesses with InfraScale today. So these are thousands of businesses that we protect globally throughout all of our 15 geographically dispersed data centers. Now, each red dot that you see on this map represents a business that InfraScale protects currently. So this is a great indication of how much data we are actually protecting. We have 1,000 partners worldwide. In turn, we're protecting millions of endpoints and billions of data objects across the globe. I already mentioned a moment ago that we were Gartner 2015 Cool Vendor in Business Continuity and Disaster Recovery. We've also been recognized by PC Mag. We were Editor's Choice for PC Mag several years in a row, and we've been recognized by CRN as well. So you don't have to take my word for it. We have been recognized by all of them as well. Now, I want to give everyone a quick look at cloud failover in action. So I'm going to take you through this 3-minute walkthrough of all the steps that you would actually take if there was a disaster, and that way you can really see just how fast it is. So this is a look at the InfraScale dashboard. And the InfraScale dashboard you can see here, let's go ahead and start this quick video. So you can see on the InfraScale dashboard there's a ton of analytics and tools right at your fingertips. So this is where I can manage all of my server backup fleet, all of my endpoints, all from one online place. So here I'm going to navigate to the office with the downed appliance. Let's just say it's 2 a.m. I get a call that the data center is down. And here, just assuming that we have one server per office in this case. So what you notice is I don't have to mess around with any VPNs. The InfraScale dashboard gives me the power to manage remote environments without any extra hardware. So some of these appliances are standalone and some are replicating to the cloud. And what I'm going to do is navigate to the office that's down, and I'm just going to click into the cloud side, the Browse and Recover Files. Now I'll navigate to the Cloud Boot tab, where I can see all the servers in that office, and then I can find the server I want to bring up. So then, once I do that, I'm going to be presented with the Cloud Boot wizard. So here we go. There's the wizard. And then the first thing I do is pick the point from which I want to bring that server back. So I'll just pick here the most recent date, and then I'll outline my network configuration. So I can decide which traffic I want to accept, and in this case, I want to accept traffic from RDP and SSH. Then next, I'm going to set up a notification email when the VM's been spun up. Just set that to ken@infrascale.com, and then that's all set. All right, so now I'll flip over to the Active tab, and I can see that it's ready here. The selected VM's been virtualized. So what I'll want to do is verify that the server is actually running. So what I'm going to do is log into Windows Remote Desktop Client, and I'm going to connect to this particular server. And you'll see as I log in here, I can see that I have network connectivity. Now, I do have to ensure that I have both inbound and outbound connectivity. So the last step that we're going to have in this whole process is simply to check that I have outbound connectivity. And with that, I'll simply ping Google. So open up Windows PowerShell, ping Google, and that's it. That's the whole process. So let's review what I just did here. Logged into the dashboard, found the office that was impacted by the disaster, found the server that I wanted to bring up, and then cloud booted that server and logged in to test connectivity. That's it. That's the whole process. All right, and now here is a look. I mentioned a few moments ago that we are going to talk about pricing. We're going to look at a cost comparison here on this slide, because the high majority of you in that poll that we ran said, I wish I could offer failover DR, but simply can't afford it. So the InfraScale failover solution, again, you can scale from just 1 terabyte of protected data to 100 terabytes of protected data on a 1 EU appliance. And that's because we intelligently use cloud spillover to spill over data from the appliance to the cloud. So you can bolt on an unlimited amount of cloud space for long-term storage and for archiving, and our pricing lets you save up to 70% compared to others. Now, those that we compared in this particular comparison was Barracuda, Unitrends, and Datto. And now, to ensure that we did an apples-to-apples comparison, what we looked at specifically was the cost of a 10 terabyte appliance plus 3 years of cloud storage. So that's what we're looking at here. Now, with InfraScale pricing, the pricing is based on the number of terabytes protected. So you only pay for what you protect. Now here is another competitive comparison. This helps summarize all of the key criteria that you want to be looking at when you're comparing different solutions and different DR vendors. So as you can see here, all the major vendors, we looked at Axient, Datto, Barracuda, Unitrends, and InfraScale. They just simply don't stack up the way that InfraScale does. So we looked at affordability. Do they offer cloud spillover? Is there complete coverage? Is it designed end-to-end? Do you have a push-button failover? We have that Push button failover with a 15-minute guarantee. Do they offer the appropriate encryption and security? What's the recovery time? And then what's the 3-year cost comparison? So if you're looking for a really affordable solution, there's really not much competition. And we're happy to share these competitive analysis with you as well. And then here's a quick snapshot of our online dashboard. This is what you just saw in the failover demo. Just a quick look to show you what the Infoscale dashboard can provide. It's a unified management console where from here you can view activity alerts, you access reporting and monitoring here. You can manage all of your retention settings for compliance requirements. You can monitor all of your account usage. And we just saw it in the demo, but I wanted to give a quick recap of the Infoscale dashboard. Now, like we mentioned, we have 1,000 partners across the globe. We took a look at that on the worldwide map showing all of the businesses that Infoscale is currently protecting. We're protecting over 1 million devices and counting. That number is growing all the time. The amount of data that we're protecting is over 100 petabytes of data across 20 billion objects. So just a quick recap of some of the awards and our key partners that we have. And with that, I wanted to offer everyone who joined today a free evaluation unit. Now, to take advantage of this free evaluation unit, simply type into the question tool and let me know that you would like a free eval. Let me know how you'd like me to contact you for that. It could be either email or phone number, whatever is the best way to reach you. But you can just use the question tool to use that. So again, I wanted to thank everyone for joining us today. And with this offer of a free evaluation unit, I'm going to leave this up for just a moment here. But I do have a final poll that I would love to get your feedback on. So let me pull up that last poll. And then in the meantime, you can go ahead and use that question tool to request that free eval. So let me pull up this last poll. There we go, and give everyone a moment to answer that while I pull up the Q&A as well. Okay, so just pulling up the Q&A while everyone answers that poll, and let's take a look here. Okay. All right. So the first question says, can you give a quick overview of the company history and customers? So great question. We were founded in 2011. We're headquartered in Los Angeles, and we are a venture-backed company. We have 150 employees worldwide, and like I mentioned just a moment ago, about 1,000 partners across the globe. Yep, and then next question says, are there any overage costs in the cloud as limits are met? What if I go over capacity? Is my data not backed up? Okay, great question. If you go over capacity, we're going to contact you and let you know that you need more space. You also are going to be receiving warnings as you get close to capacity in your dashboard, but we're not going to leave you hanging without your scheduled backups. So your data is still going to be protected. Okay, next question says, did you mention the appliance can support 100 different operating systems? Question mark. So yes, we support Windows, Mac. Actually, let me be more specific. We support all versions of Windows. All versions of Linux, Unix, OpenServer, Novell NetWare. We support Solaris, HPUX, and AIX. We also have bare metal bootable for Windows, and we have bare metal bootable for Linux coming soon. Okay, next question as I scroll through them here. Is the backup real time, or can we determine the frequency of when each server is backed up? So the protection policies are completely configurable. You can set it however you'd like. So you can set it to protect every 15 minutes, every 24 hours, whatever you need for your business or for your customer. Okay. Are there minimum bandwidth requirements? Just at least a 1 megabit connection? What is your support? Do you offer 24/7 support? Yes, we offer 24/7, 365 days a year. We have US-based support. Half of the support team is in LA at our headquarters in Los Angeles. The other half is in Salt Lake City. And then we have support via email, live chat, ticketing. We have a knowledge base, and we have a phone line with a 1-hour SLA. Can you replicate to multiple cloud services? Yes, we support Amazon, Azure, and also Infrascale's own cloud. And Infrascale's cloud, we have over 15 global points of presence. We have data centers throughout the US, Canada, the UK, Australia, South Africa, and South America. Also, all of our data centers are Tier 3 and Tier 4 with requirements, redundant cooling systems, etc. So we do take security and compliance very seriously. All of our data centers comply with HIPAA, Sarbanes-Oxley, PCI, Safe Harbor, SAS 70, SSAE 16, CGIS. We sign business associate agreements as well. And then our data is encrypted at 256-bit AES. Locally, it's sent over SSL and then encrypted again at 256-bit AES. Okay, next question says, how redundant are your data centers? So we do replicate to another machine within the same data center in case that cluster goes down. We also replicate to another data center in a different state or geographic region in the event that there's a problem at the data center. And then most of our customers also keep a replicated copy, and so since we keep a replicated copy, all of the data is protected. Redundancy is really not going to be an issue. Okay, is this compatible with my WAN accelerators? What about the challenge with spending excessive time on replication issues? So when you look at WAN acceleration and over-the-wire deduplication, we use both of these technologies with data compression built into our solution. So some solutions are going to require that you buy a WAN acceleration system, but we've already built that right in. And we have a patented deduplication technology that allows us to dramatically reduce the payload that gets pushed over the wire. You can reduce, the dedupe technology reduces by up to 90%. And of course that's going to depend on the types of data, the type of data that you're using, the type of data that you're recovering, I should say. Okay, next question. All right, next question says, is asking about agent versus agentless. So is Infrascale an agent-based backup, or does it communicate with the hypervisor? Do I have to install agents on devices and servers? So for agent-based or agentless, we support both. What we do recommend is that within the data center, you use the agentless approach and connect directly to the hypervisor. But for things like, say, Unix server or Linux running on Metal, then we do have agents there. Okay. Let's see, let's scroll to the next question here. Does your solution integrate with RMNs and PSAs like ConnectWise or Kaseya? Yes, we do. Do you support VMDK browsing in granular file recovery? Can I browse at the mail level within an Exchange backup? Yes, you can. Exchange granular recovery allows for search and recovery at the individual mail level, and that's part of the service. So if you want mailbox level recovery, you can open an individual mailbox, drill through, find an email with an attachment that was deleted, and then find it and restore it all as part of this service. Okay, where is the customer portal available? So that online dashboard, it's available from any browser, so it can be accessed by any computer, tablet, or smartphone. Okay, great. Do you allow seeding capabilities for those with slow internet pipes? Yes, we do. Do you offer monthly payments? Yes, we offer flexible payment options. We do have payment plans available. We offer hardware as a service for the 1200 series and the 1500 series. Just you can simply ask our representative about that, because I see that you asked for an eval. And then as a reminder, that free evaluation unit, just type into the question tool to let me know if you want to request one of those. Okay, great. And it looks like everyone has also answered that poll, so let me go ahead and close that down. So thank you everyone for your participation with that. Okay, I'm scrolling through the last of these questions and comments. I'm seeing a lot of comments here requesting evaluation units. Let's see if there are any other questions through here. Okay, I see another question on retention policies, folds, incrementals, differentials. So you can log in, you can change those policies independently, so you have complete control over that. Okay, next question says data residency. Let's see. Okay, do you have sites for the EU / outside the US? Yes, we do. We have over 15 global points of presence. You can decide where your data sits. We have, let's see, I sort of rattled off all of the countries, but to be a little bit more specific, in the UK, our data center is in London. In South Africa, our data center is in Johannesburg. We have our Australian data center in Melbourne. We have our Canadian data center in Toronto. We have many data centers throughout the US, from coast to coast, east to west. And I'm missing a few of the specific cities, but we do have over 15. So let me know specifically if there was a location you were looking for. You did say EU / outside the US. Perhaps the London data center is what you're looking for. And then on that note, okay, I see the follow-up question says, can I dictate that no backup is done to a US site? Yes, you can. We do have many data sovereignty issues come up with compliance, with different government regulations. So yes, you can definitely determine where you want your data to sit. I see a few more comments coming through here. I'd like to know more, but require approval from management. No problem. Support for NetApp SAN backup, yes, we can. I see another request for an evaluation unit. Okay, great. It looks like we are coming to the very end of the Q&A here. So it looks like we're winding down on that. Let me go ahead and put the information with my contact up on the screen again. So if you do want to reach out to me for one of those free evaluation units, please feel free to do so. If you want to reach out on social, please use the hashtag DRAZ. And you can also email team@infoscale.com, which is our team account, so we can put you in touch with the correct person there. So I wanted to thank everyone for joining us today. Again, those of you who requested that free eval unit, I'm going to reach out to you directly within the next day, so you'll hear from me on that. And again, thank you everyone for your time today. Please grab a copy of this presentation in the handouts section, and then look for a replay of this video on our website within 24 hours at infoscale.com/webinars. Thanks very much, and look forward to working with you in the future.